Hello children, welcome to online classes. Today I am going to explain some important points from aldehydes, ketones, carboxylic acids and polymers. Coming to the introduction part, aldehydes are organic compounds containing carbonyl groups. These carbonyl groups are two types, aldehydes and ketones. Together called carbonyl compounds since they contain carbonyl group. If carbonyl carbon is attached to at least one hydrogen, that is aldehyde. If carbonyl carbon is attached to two other carbons, that is ketone. The structure of carbonyl group, if you take carbon and oxygen, the bond is polar covalent bond. Oxygen gets partial negative charge, carbon gets partial positive charge. So carbon has attraction towards electrons, that's why it is called electrophilic carbon. Any nucleophile can attack at electrophilic carbon. Nomenclature aldehydes and ketones in brief. RCHO is aldehyde, RCOR is ketone. You select the main carbon chain including carbon of the CO. Root word is al, primary suffix may be in or ein, secondary suffix is al. So carbon present in CHO group gets number 1. Coming to ketones, including carbon of the CO, you have to select the main carbon chain so that carbon of the CO gets one locant. So by indicating that locant, you have to write alk root word. Suppose primary suffix is en, x one. X indicates locant like 2, 3, or even after writing one also we can write the locant. Example, general molecular formula of these two CnH2nO. So aldehydes and ketones containing same number of carbons can act as functional group isomers. The first homologue of the series HCHO, methanol. This is a IUPAC name. Common name is taken from the common name of its parent carboxylic acid. When formic acid is reduced, we can get formaldehyde. That's why, since its parent carboxylic acid is formic acid, its name is formaldehyde. The smallest, the first member of the ketones family contains 3 carbons, CH3CO, CH3. Prop, N, 2 one you need not mention, just 1 is enough. Propanone, common name is acetone, or it is also called dimethyl ketone. Dimethyl ketone. Ketones are two types, symmetrical ketones, unsymmetrical ketones. If R and R prime both are identical, that is called symmetrical ketone. If R is not equal to R prime, that is mixed or unsymmetrical ketone. If COH directly attached to a benzene ring, that is aromatic aldehyde, its name is benzaldehyde, or it is also taken as phenyl is the substituent, phenyl methanol. Coming to ketones, if CO, other side may be alkyl group, may be aryl group, any one may be there. This is aromatic ketone. CO of the ketone group is directly attached to arene ring. So alkyl aryl ketone, diphenyl ketone. If you take the example COCH3, this is common name is acetophenone. IUPAC name, phenyl is taken as substituent, then the root word is eth, ane, one. Next, so phenylethanone. Coming to the next one, diphenyl ketone, it is also called benzophenone, common name benzophenone. Next, coming to the methods of preparation, oxidation of alcohols. When primary alcohol is subjected to oxidation by certain oxidizing agent, say PCC or PDC, these are mild oxidizing agents. One hydrogen from oxygen, one hydrogen from carbon, both are removed in the form of H2O. So removal of hydrogen or addition of oxygen called oxidation. Between C and O, double bond is created. This is aldehyde. If strong oxidizing agent like potassium permanganate is used, if PCC or PDC is used, reaction is stopped with the formation of aldehyde only. But if strong oxidizing agent like acidified potassium permanganate, acidified potassium dichromate is used, what happens? Further oxidation takes place since aldehyde is weak, means unstable. So final product obtained is carboxylic acid. So when we want to prepare aldehydes from primary alcohols, definitely the weak mild oxidizing agent PCC or PDC must be used. If it is 2-degree alcohol, during the oxidation, any oxidizing agent we can use, even strong also we can use. We can get RCO or ketone. So ketone further not oxidized under normal conditions. So for the preparation of ketone, any oxidizing agent we can use. Tertiary alcohol won't undergo oxidation. Next method, dehydrogenation of alcohols. Just H2 is removed from primary alcohol when it is heated with copper at 300 degrees of centigrade. Two hydrogens, one from oxygen, one from carbon, both are removed in the form of H2 gas. Then aldehyde is obtained. No further oxidation. Now if it is 2-degree alcohol, same process, by the dehydrogenation we can get ketone. Since H2 is removed from the substrate, this process is called dehydrogenation. If it is 3-degree alcohol, instead of dehydrogenation, dehydration takes place. OH from alpha carbon, H from beta carbon, both are removed in the form of H2O. So dehydration is preferable, producing alkene. This is isobutene. So remember, 3-degree alcohol on heating with copper at 300 degrees centigrade, instead of dehydrogenation, dehydration takes place to produce alkene. Next, preparation of aldehydes and ketones from alkenes by the process ozonolysis. When alkene is reacted with ozone followed by hydrolysis followed by decomposition, so first addition of ozone getting alkene ozonide, highly unstable one. This is subjected to decomposition by means of zinc H2 or dimethyl sulfide. Even we can use dimethyl sulfide. So finally what happens? You break the CC double bond, attach oxygen to each doubly bonded carbon through double bond. Two carbons are separated which are connected to the double bond, and each carbon, doubly bonded carbon, now makes double bond with oxygen. So we can get two carbonyl groups. So based on the groups attached to the doubly bonded carbon, we can get different carbonyl compounds. Suppose CH3CH double bond CCH3CH3. 2-methyl 2-butene is subjected to ozonolysis. So at this time, how to write the product? You break the CC double bond, CH3CH, carbon is looking for 2 more bonds, and in another one also CH3CCH3, this carbon also looking for 2 more bonds. So keep oxygen at that carbon through double bond. So one is aldehyde, other one is ketone. This is the method to prepare aldehydes and ketones from alkenes by ozonolysis process. Next method, by the hydration of alkynes. From alkynes, by adding H2O indirectly, we can get aldehydes and ketones. Let us take acetylene. When acetylene is passed into the mixture of H2SO4 and HgSO4, 1% mercuric sulfate and 46% sulfuric acid. So acidified mercuric ions. Indirectly water is added according to Markovnikov's rule. Of course, for acetylene it is not applicable. OH is attached to another carbon after breaking pi bond. CH2 double bond CHOH is the product. Now this is unstable enol form. Double bond and OH, when both are there at the same carbon, that is called enol. Enol undergoes tautomerization. It is converted into its stable tautomer keto form. During that time, what happens? H from oxygen migrated to carbon. CC double bond will become CO double bond. So CH3 C double bond OH, acetaldehyde is the product. So this is the one of the best methods for the preparation of aldehydes and ketones. Next, from acid halides, the method is Rosenmund's reduction. When acid halides, say acid chloride or COCl, when it is subjected to hydrogenation in the presence of palladium, we can get alcohol actually, RCH2OH. So in order to reduce the catalytic activity of palladium, this is poisoned by adding barium sulfate in quinoline solvent. The entire mixture is called Lindlar's reagent. So when acid chloride is subjected to Lindlar's reagent, partial reduction takes place. Now one chlorine is replaced with one hydrogen. If barium sulfate is not there, aldehyde formed also undergoes reduction to give alcohol, primary alcohol. That's why Lindlar's reagent is used. Catalytic activity of palladium is suppressed. Aldehyde is the product plus HCl. This reaction is named as Rosenmund's reduction. This method is used for the preparation of only aldehydes. Next one, from nitriles, the name of the reaction is Stefan's reduction. Let us take nitrile RCN. This is nitrile alkane nitrile. When it is subjected to reduction by HCl and SnCl2, pi bond is broken. RCH double bond NH. Aldimine is obtained as an intermediate. Aldimine undergoes hydrolysis later, forming aldehyde and ammonia. So RCHO is formed. This method also used for the preparation of aldehydes only. Next one, oxidation of alkyl benzene. So for the preparation of aromatic aldehydes, oxidation of alkyl benzenes we can use. Etart's reaction. Methyl benzene, say toluene, when it is subjected to oxidation with chromyl chloride in the solvent carbon disulfide, followed by hydrolysis, CH3 part is oxidized to CHO, that is benzaldehyde. Instead of chromyl chloride, we can use chromic oxide and acetic anhydride. Same process takes place via intermediate, we can get benzaldehyde. Next, Gattermann-Koch formylation. When benzene is reacted with the mixture of carbon monoxide and HCl in the presence of anhydrous aluminum chloride, CHO. CO, formylium ion is the attacking electrophile. It attacks at benzene ring, replacing H plus. So CHO is attached to the benzene ring, forming benzaldehyde. Here the attacking electrophile is formylium. CHO plus is called formylium. Next one, for the preparation of aromatic ketones, Friedel-Crafts acylation. When benzene is reacted with acid chloride like RCOCl in the presence of anhydrous AlCl3, this should be anhydrous AlCl3. RCOCl minus is taken by AlCl3, providing an electrophile acylium carbocation that replaces H plus of the benzene ring. So acylium ion is attached to the benzene ring. This process is called Friedel-Crafts acylation. This is used for the preparation of ketones. Now coming to the chemical properties, we have to concentrate on chemical properties. Aldehydes and ketones undergo nucleophilic addition reactions. Because of the CO double bond, they undergo addition reactions. That addition reaction is nucleophilic addition reaction. Because of the electrophilic nature of carbon, it attracts a nucleophile. So a reagent we can take it as NuE. Nu gets partial negative charge, E gets partial positive charge. Whenever carbonyl group is added, this is planar molecule. Nu minus attacks at electrophilic carbon. Carbon pushes pi electron pair onto oxygen. An intermediate non-planar intermediate obtain, that is the carbon is undergoing sp3 hybridization. So after the formation of intermediate oxide ion, again E plus, which is waiting for that moment only, being taken by O minus. So totally nucleophile is attached as well as E plus electrophile also attached. But why this reaction is called nucleophilic addition reaction only? The reason, first step is slow step, which is called RDS, rate determining step. In that rate determining step, since nucleophile only involved, this reaction is called nucleophilic addition reaction. Addition of second electrophile is very fast step. So the entire reaction, rate of reaction is decided by the first step. That's why it is called nucleophilic addition reaction. Here, rate of nucleophilic addition reaction is inversely related to steric hindrance. Steric hindrance. When the steric hindrance is more around the electrophilic carbon, nucleophile can attack easily on electrophilic carbon, giving the product quickly. So rate is inversely related to steric hindrance around carbonyl carbon. Similarly, rate of the nucleophilic addition reaction is directly proportional to magnitude of positive charge. Magnitude of positive charge on carbonyl carbon. So if positive charge is more, nucleophile can attack easily. So order of reactivity: formaldehyde, acetaldehyde, acetone. If you take, as the steric hindrance increases, reactivity decreases. So this is the stability order. Reactivity order. Formaldehyde is more reactive than acetaldehyde, then acetone. So stability order is exactly opposite. Acetone is more stable when compared with acetaldehyde, when compared with formaldehyde. Coming to the addition reactions, nucleophilic addition reactions, when aldehyde, or you can take even ketone also, when it is subjected to addition with hydrogen cyanide, Cn minus attacks at carbonyl carbon, H plus attacks at oxygen, but base alkali is required. Then we can get RCOH Cn. This is called cyanohydrin. When OH and Cn both are on the same carbon, the compound is called cyanohydrin. This is optically active if R is other than H. Next, Sodium bisulfite, same process, RCH OH SO3Na. Aldehyde sodium bisulfite salt is obtained. When water is added, RCH, other side OH, and one more OH. So OH goes to carbon, other H of the H2O goes to oxygen. Gem diol is obtained. Gem diol is highly unstable. Dehydration takes place to give back aldehyde. Next, when alcohol is added in the presence of HCl, nucleophilic addition takes place. RO, through oxygen it attacks at carbonyl carbon. CH, OR attached, and double bond O becomes single bond OH. So on the same carbon, alkoxy group and OH both are present. This is called hemiacetal. Hemiacetal. If 2 moles of alcohol is added in the presence of HCl, diHCl, and 2 hydrogens of 2 alcohols and oxygen, both are removed in the form of H2O. So on the same carbon, 2 alkoxy groups are attached. This is gem dialkoxy. On the same carbon, if 2 alkoxy groups are there, we can take it as gem dialkoxy alkane. This is called acetal. If it is obtained from ketone, called ketol. So instead of 2 moles of alcohol, 1 mole only, but ethylene glycol, which contains 2 OH groups, is added at C double bond O. We can get cyclic, RCH, in place of 2 bonds. Ethylene glycol is attached in this way. This is cyclic acetal. Next one, condensation reactions. Addition reaction followed by elimination of small molecule like H2O is called condensation reaction. There are 2 steps. So in this mechanism, first through lone pair it attacks at electrophilic carbon. Pi electron pair is shifted over oxygen. Oxygen becomes O minus. It takes one of the hydrogens present at nitrogen. So totally H and NHZ. H goes to oxygen, NHZ is going to carbon. This is nucleophilic addition reaction. Through lone pair, the nucleophile attacks at carbonyl carbon. So this is nucleophilic addition reaction. After the formation of addition product, OH and acidic hydrogen both are closer to each other, and both are removed in the form of H2O. Elimination reaction takes place, producing double bond between carbon and nitrogen. So first step is addition, nucleophilic addition. Second step is elimination. That's why the overall reaction is called condensation reaction. This is called condensed product. So in place of Z, we can take any one. We can get more examples. If hydrogen is there in place of Z, oxygen and 2 hydrogens of nitrogen both are removed in the form of H2O. Then condensed product is nothing but RCH double bond NH. This is aldimine. Similarly, if 1 degree amine is taken, the product obtained is RCH double bond NR. N-alkyl aldimine. This is also called Schiff's base. If it is hydroxylamine, you can get RCH double bond NOH. This is called oxime. Very, very important compound. Continuation. During the condensation reactions, if it is hydrazine, we can get aldehyde hydrazone. Hydrazine becomes hydrazone. Now phenylhydrazine, we can get RCH double bond N NHC6H5. Aldehyde phenylhydrazone. 2, 4 dinitrophenyl hydrogen. This is called 2,4-DNP. 2, 4 dinitrophenyl hydrogen. Same type of condensed product we can get. At second and fourth positions, NO2 group is present. Semicarbazide condensation, semicarbazone is obtained. This is semicarbazone. So these are all condensation reactions with derivatives of ammonia. Next one, reduction reactions of carbonyl compounds. Reduction of carbonyl group, two types. Carbonyl group partially reduced by the breaking of pi bond, two hydrogens are added, one at oxygen, other one at carbon, that gives alcohol. This is partial reduction. If so in this case 2 hydrogens only involved. If 4 hydrogens are used, what happens? 2 oxygen is removed as H2 and 2 more hydrogens are added. Totally 4 nascent hydrogens are involved. We can get CH2. So due to incomplete reduction, we can get alcohol. Due to complete reduction, we can get alkane. For the preparation of alcohol, incomplete reduction, lithium aluminum hydride or sodium borohydride or even hydrogen in the presence of palladium. Hydrogen in the presence of palladium we can use. Then incomplete reduction takes place. RCOH becomes RCH2OH. If it is ketone, we can get RCOCH or OH, means secondary alcohol. From primary aldehyde, we can get primary alcohol. If it is ketone, we can get secondary alcohol. Next one, carbonyl compounds are reduced to alkanes by two methods. One is Clemenson's reduction. This is very important one, Clemenson's reduction. So in this method, aldehyde or ketone is reduced with zinc amalgam and HCl, concentrated HCl. So oxygen is removed completely. That oxygen is removed in the form of H2O. So in place of one oxygen, two hydrogens are added. CO group becomes CH2. The product obtained is nothing but alkane. Next method, Wolff-Kishner reduction. Wolff-Kishner reduction. By this method, aldehyde or ketone is subjected to condensation with hydrogen. We can get aldehyde hydrazone or ketone hydrazone as intermediate compound that is reacted with a base like potassium hydroxide in ethylene glycol. So finally, same product, oxygen is replaced with two hydrogens. We can get alkane and H2O. So these two are named reactions, very important. Next one, particular specific oxidizing agents, Tollens reagent, Fehling's reagent and Benedict's solution. These three are used to identify which is aldehyde, which is ketone. So to distinguish aldehyde and ketone, we can use three reagents, Tollens reagent, ammonical silver nitrate, Fehling's reagent and Benedict's solution. So here Ag plus, alkaline Ag plus, alkaline Cu2 plus in Fehling's reagent and alkaline Cu2 plus in Benedict's solution. These are acting as mild oxidizing agents. They can oxidize only aldehydes to carboxylic acids. So here in Tollens reagent, alkaline Ag plus acts as specific oxidizing agent. It oxidizes aldehyde to carboxylic acid. But in the presence of base, carboxylic acid can exist in the form of carboxylate, silver carboxylate. Next, in Fehling's reagent or Benedict's solution, alkaline Cu2 plus ions are present. The alkaline Cu2 plus ion is reduced to red color precipitate Cu2O. The ketones won't undergo oxidation by these mild oxidizing agents. So based on this, we can identify which is aldehyde, which is ketone. Next, if strong oxidizing agent like concentrated HNO3 used under drastic conditions, ketone also undergo oxidation by cleavage. So at this time, ketone undergoes cleavage to give the mixture of two carboxylic acids. There is one rule, Popoff's rule. During the cleavage, CO group goes with the smaller alkyl group. So we can get 2 carboxylic acids. Haloform reaction, this is very very important. Aldehydes are ketones containing CH3 group attached to carbonyl group. This is called alpha methyl ketone. Alpha methyl group aldehyde or ketone. H or C may be present other side. Then only it becomes aldehyde or ketone. Remember, it should be aldehyde or ketone only, not carboxylic acid, not acid halide. So when it is reacted with halogen in the presence of base like sodium hydroxide. So when halogen is added to base, it becomes hypohalite, XO minus. So this alpha CH3 is converted into CHX3 halo form. The other part is converted into carboxylate ion. In the presence of base, if acid is formed as product, that will be converted into salt. Carboxylate salt is obtained. If you wish to get acid, that salt should be subjected to acidification later. So what type of aldehydes or ketones can give this test? Frequently they are asking this type of question. Alpha CH3. CH3 must be attached to carbonyl carbon. Suppose acetone, if you take, when it is reacted with iodine in the presence of sodium hydroxide, alpha CH3 will become iodoform, yellow colored precipitate. The other part, CH3CO part, will become carboxylate. Suppose if it is sodium hydroxide used, sodium acetate is the other product. If it is subjected to acidification, we can get carboxylic acid, acetic acid. Suppose CH3CH2COH propanaldehyde is taken, it won't undergo iodoform test. So based on this test, we can identify which is giving iodoform or not. So which is having alpha methyl group. Next, aldol condensation. This is very very important. The aldehydes are ketones containing at least one alpha hydrogen with respect to electron withdrawing group like C double bond O. So C double bond O is strong electron withdrawing group. The next carbon is alpha carbon. The hydrogen which is attached to alpha carbon is acidic hydrogen, because as it is removed, we can get stable conjugate base. Because of the conjugation between C minus and C double bond O pi bond, it is very very stable one. It exists in two forms. So because of these two resonance structures, conjugate base, this is also called enolate ion, conjugate base is stable. Since it is going to become stable conjugate base, aldehyde containing acidic hydrogen, alpha hydrogen, becomes acid. Because of this alpha hydrogen, they undergo condensation reactions. Two aldehyde molecules undergo addition followed by elimination called condensation via an intermediate compound aldol. So two aldehydes containing at least one alpha hydrogen in the presence of dilute base like sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide undergo condensation. So finally what happened? H goes to oxygen, alpha carbon attached to carbonyl carbon. Then we can get an intermediate compound aldol, beta hydroxyaldehyde. At beta position OH group is present. Since OH whole and all both are present, the intermediate compound is called aldol. Aldol just heating loses OH from beta carbon and H from alpha carbon. Between alpha and beta double bond is created. CH3 CH double bond CH CH4. So alpha beta unsaturated aldehyde is obtained. This reaction is called aldol condensation. Remember, to undergo aldol condensation, aldehyde or ketone should have at least one alpha hydrogen. Next, crossed aldol condensation. Condensation between two different aldehydes or different ketones or between aldehyde and ketone is called cross-aldol condensation. Let it be acetaldehyde and acetone. One which is taking nucleophile is substrate. One which is converted into nucleophile, attacking nucleophile is reagent. So once acetone is acting as reagent, to get direct condensed product, remember, remove oxygen from substrate, 2 alpha hydrogens from alpha carbon of the reagent. So totally condensed product. Base followed by heating. Condensation takes place. So directly we can write the product CH3CH in place of double bond O. You connect the carbonyl carbon to the alpha carbon of the next molecule through double bond. This is crossed condensed product. This is crossed product. So now you exchange acetone. You take the acetone as substrate and aldehyde, acetaldehyde as reagent. See, remove 2 alpha hydrogens from acetaldehyde and oxygen from acetone. So in this first step, condensation with the dilute NaOH. In second step, heating. So directly we can get CH3, CH3, double bond CH, CHO. Again alpha beta unsaturated aldehyde. This is also crossed product. So sometimes aldehyde plus aldehyde, self condensed product, acetone plus acetone also self. So total number of condensed products 4, 2 self condensed products, 2 are cross condensed products. Next, if alpha hydrogen is absent, remember alpha hydrogen is absent and concentrated alkali 50% KOH or NaOH is used. At that time, instead of condensation, disproportionation of carbonyl compound takes place. So example, formaldehyde, it has no alpha hydrogen. So in the aldehyde without alpha hydrogen, when treated with strong alkali, concentrated alkali, 50% sodium hydroxide is used. At this time what happens, same carbon undergoes oxidation as well as reduction. Disproportionation takes place. So one formaldehyde undergoes oxidation due to insertion of oxygen, HCOOH. Formic acid is obtained, but formic acid undergoes neutralization with NaOH, forming sodium formate. And the other one, pi bond is broken, H goes to one oxygen, H goes to carbon. So CH3OH, methyl alcohol is obtained. So same formaldehyde undergoes oxidation to give sodium salt of carboxylic acid. Same formaldehyde undergoes reduction to give alcohol. That's why this reaction is known as disproportionation reaction. Other examples, benzaldehyde also undergoes Kennegerose reaction. Crossed Kennegerose reaction, when two different aldehydes without alpha hydrogen used, such type of Kennegerose reaction is called crossed Kennegerose reaction. Let us take formaldehyde and benzaldehyde. Formaldehyde and benzaldehyde, when they are treated with concentrated potassium hydroxide, suppose 50% KOH is used. The important step here, which one is undergoing oxidation? Remember, first of all, OH minus has to attack at the electrophilic carbon, carbonyl carbon. So OH minus preferably attacks at the carbon which has less steric hindrance around carbonyl carbon. So the smaller one, the aldehyde with less steric hindrance undergoes oxidation preferably. So formaldehyde undergoes oxidation. The oxidized product is formic acid, but that undergoes neutralization with KOH, forming potassium formate. Then the other aldehyde undergoes reduction. So now we can get benzyl alcohol. So this type of reaction is called crossed Kennegerose reaction. Now coming to the electrophilic substitution reactions given by aromatic aldehydes and ketones. Let us take benzaldehyde, C double bond OH aldehydic group is in conjugation with pi bond of the benzene ring. So because of the pi bond, because of the conjugation between C double bond O and C double bond C, resonance structures are produced. Here electron density is shifted from benzene ring to CHO group. So CHO shows minus R effect as well as minus I effect. By these two phenomena, CHO present on benzene ring acts as electron withdrawing group. So electron withdrawing, it can decrease electron density at ortho and para positions. So ortho and para positions are getting partial positive charges. So electrophile, incoming electrophile prefers to attack at meta position. So benzaldehyde CHO acts as meta directing group. So in the presence of certain halogen carrier, when electrophile is produced, that new electrophile prefers to attack at meta position. So when benzaldehyde is treated with nitration mixture, NO2 plus can attack at meta position, producing meta-nitrobenzaldehyde. Same type of reaction given by aromatic ketones also. Suppose acetophenone, this is keto group. That keto group also acts as meta-directing group, electron withdrawing group. But electron withdrawing nature is less when compared with CHO. Carboxylic acids and derivatives. Organic compounds containing carboxyl group called carboxylic acids. Carboxyl group is made up of two functional groups. One is hydroxyl group, other one is carbonyl group. So when both are connected, we can get carboxyl group. So these are represented as RCOOH. Maybe arene ring also attached to the COOH. So aromatic carboxylic acid, aliphatic carboxylic acids. If only one COOH is present, they are monocarboxylic acids. Higher carbon chain with carbon chain containing even number of carbons is also called fatty acids. Then if two COOH groups are present, they are dicarboxylic acids. IUPAC name, the carbon which is present in COOH only gets number 1. So by including the carbon of COOH, you select the main carbon chain. It becomes alk, primary suffix ANE, and in place of E, you write the secondary suffix oic acid. So alkanoic acid is the common name. When COH directly attached to the benzene ring, that is called benzoic acid. Dicarboxylic acids, when two COOH groups are present in the same molecule, that is called dicarboxylic acid. The smallest dicarboxylic acid is COOH, oxalic acid. Oxalic acid. IUPAC name, eth, ane, 1,2 dioic acid or ethane dioic acid is the IUPAC name. Oxalic acid is the common name. Next, acid derivatives. The compounds which are derived from carboxylic acid or COOH. This is carboxylic acid. From this carboxylic acid, we can get 4 types of derivatives. Suppose in place of OH, you remove OH. This is not the preparation method, just to understand how to get acid derivatives. In place of OH, you put halogen. Then we can get acid halides. In place of OH, if alkoxy group is attached, we can get ester. In place of OH, if COR is attached, we can get OCOR. In place of OH, you keep OCOR. This is acid anhydride. In place of OH, if NH or NH or NH2 anything is used, we can get amide, acid amide. So acid halide, ester, acid anhydride, acid amide, these are all acid derivatives. We can prepare these 4 acid derivatives from carboxylic acids. At the same time, from these 4 acid derivatives, we can get carboxylic acid by the hydrolysis process. So nomenclature no need to discuss too much. General methods of preparation of carboxylic acids from aldehydes and ketones. When aldehyde is subjected to oxidation by any oxidizing agent, even Tollens reagent, Fehling's reagent, Benedict's solution, or strong oxidizing agent like potassium permanganate, the aldehyde is converted into carboxylic acid. Even from alcohols also, by direct method we can prepare. When primary alcohol is subjected to oxidation by strong oxidizing agent like potassium permanganate acidified, we can get carboxylic acids. But from ketones, not easy to get carboxylic acids because ketone is a very stable one. If strong oxidizing agent with mild drastic conditions used, we can get the mixture of 2 carboxylic acids. Next one, oxidation of alkyl benzene. When alkyl benzene is subjected to oxidation followed by acidification, like Bayer's reagent, potassium permanganate alkaline, the CH3 group will be oxidized to COOH. Benzoic acid is obtained. But benzoic acid in the presence of base cannot exist as acid, that will be converted into benzoate, COO minus. If it is KOH, base is KOH, we can get potassium benzoate. So when we want to get acid only, the potassium benzoate separated and subjected to acidification, that will become benzoic acid. So remember, CH3 part is converted to COOH. Any alkyl group attached to the benzene ring get oxidized to COOH. Suppose you take ethyl group, that also finally converted into benzoic acid after the reaction with potassium permanganate alkaline followed by acidification, we can get same benzoic acid. So with irrespective of the type of alkyl group, it undergoes oxidation to give benzoic acid, but byproduct may be CO2 and H2O. If benzylic carbon has no hydrogen, then it won't undergo oxidation. So you remember, the alkyl group which is just attached to benzene ring should contain benzylic hydrogen, that only undergoes oxidation. So that is one method. Next one, by the hydrolysis of acid derivatives also we can prepare carboxylic acid. Let us take acid chloride. When it is subjected to hydrolysis, nucleophilic acyl substitution takes place. OH through lone pair attacks at carbonyl carbon and Cl minus is substituted. That Cl minus takes H plus from H2O. So finally RCOOH. This type of reaction is also called nucleophilic acyl substitution. At acylic carbon, RCO carbon is called acylic carbon. At this acylic carbon, substitution takes place. So no need of any catalyst for this reaction. RCO, OCO, or this is acid anhydride. When acid anhydride also subjected to hydrolysis, same type of reaction takes place. RCOO minus is separated. RCOOH, and then other one RCOOH. Next one RCOOR. This also undergoes hydrolysis, but this is reversible reaction. Moreover, acid or base must be used as catalyst. Any one catalyst is needed, then only ester undergoes hydrolysis to give acid and alcohol, carboxylic acid and alcohol, both are obtained. So this process is called ester hydrolysis. In the backward direction, acid undergoes esterification with alcohol to give back ester. So the reverse reaction, backward reaction, is called esterification. So the reason the leaving group, alkoxy group, is not good leaving group. Next, RCONH2, amide. Amide also undergoes hydrolysis in the presence of acid or base as catalyst. We can get RCOOH plus NH3. So for the last two, we required some catalyst, acid or base, because the leaving ability. Leaving ability in the first case, Cl minus has highest leaving ability. Next one, COOR carboxylate. Next, alkoxy group. Next, NH2 minus. So the rate of reaction depends on the leaving ability of the leaving group. Cl minus is the weakest base since its conjugate acid HCl is strongest. So this is the order of leaving ability. This is the order of leaving ability. So in this way, these undergo hydrolysis to give carboxylic acids. Next method for the preparation of carboxylic acids by reacting with Grignard's reagents. So when Grignard reagent is reacted with carbon dioxide, carbon of the carbon dioxide is electrophilic carbon. Now alkyl group, this is potential nucleophile. R minus attacks at electrophilic carbon, forming an adduct. Salt like addition product is obtained. That salt like addition product takes H plus in the next step, forming carboxylic acid. So there are two steps. RMGX reacts with CO2 in the first step. Next one, acidification. R part will become RCOOH. Next, under the chemical properties, we have to discuss mainly acidic nature. Carboxylic acids are strongest acids among all organic acids like alcohols, phenols. Carboxylic acid loses H plus and becomes carboxylate ion. Carboxylate ion is stable due to conjugation. So it has two equivalent resonance structures. That's why carboxylic acid is strong acid. Its conjugate base carboxylate is stable. Carboxylic acid is strong. So relative acidic strength. When two acids are given, how can we find out which is stronger acid? Relative acidic strength increases when experimentally determined Ka value increases. It increases when experimentally determined pKa value decreases. Relative acidic strength increases when stability of conjugate base carboxylate ion increases. So the stability of carboxylate ion is increased by withdrawing nature of the electron withdrawing group. So relative acidic strength is increased by electron withdrawing nature of group. It is decreased by electron donating nature of a group. So by applying these concepts, we can find out the relative acidic strength of two or more than two acids. Coming to few examples. HCOOH, CH3COOH. So in between these two, in place of H, CH3 is there. CH3 is electron pushing group, electron donating group. That's why acidic strength decreases. Let us take CH2ClCOOH and compare with CH3COOH. So here Cl group is acting as electron withdrawing group. So when compared with just CH3, because of Cl, CH2Cl acts as electron withdrawing group. So acidic strength increases. Next one, in place of Cl, if it is F, so both are minus I groups, but inductive effect is more for fluorine. That's why alpha fluoroacetic acid is more acidic. Now coming to the acidic strength of aliphatic acid and aromatic, RCOOH and C6H5 COOH. Aromatic carboxylic acid is stronger acid since the carbon containing or attached to COOH is sp2 carbon higher electronegative. So benzoic acid is stronger acid when compared with aliphatic carboxylic acid. When we want to compare acidic strength of two benzoic acids, normal benzoic acid and orthonitrobenzoic acid. Nitro group is withdrawing group, so obviously orthonitrobenzoic acid is more acidic. Let us take another example, benzoic acid and orthotoluic acid. At ortho position we are keeping CH3. So generally CH3, since it is acting as donating group by plus R effect, we can think orthotoluic acid is weaker acid. But experimentally we came to know that orthotoluic acid itself more acidic than benzoic acid. So this is because of the ortho effect. So what is ortho effect? Any group, maybe donating group or withdrawing group, present at ortho position can increase the acidic strength of benzoic acid. Any group present at ortho position can increase the acidic strength of benzoic acid. That is called ortho effect. Now coming to the chemical reactions. So because of the acidic nature, carboxylic acid can react with sodium metal. Now hydrogen is replaced with sodium RCO in a sodium carboxylate and hydrogen gas is released. Similarly, it is neutralized with sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide to give same salt, but the byproduct is water. In the same way, sodium bicarbonate, when it is reacted with sodium bicarbonate, we can get sodium carbonate plus H2CO3. Of course, H2CO3 is decomposed to give CO2 and H2O. So one thing you have to remember, since sodium carboxylic acid is stronger acid, the acidic strength of carboxylic acid is more than that of H2CO3. That's why carboxylic acids can react with weak base sodium carbonate or sodium bicarbonate to give carbon dioxide gas. Alcohols and terminal alkynes, they won't undergo reaction with the sodium bicarbonate or sodium carbonate. Next, formation of acid derivatives may be acid chloride, anhydride, acid ester and amide. RCOOH, when it is reacted with PCl3, PCl5 or even with SOCl2. Similar to alcohols, reaction of alcohols, OH group present in carboxylic acid is substituted by Cl. So we can get acid chloride. Next, carboxylic acid on dehydration or COOH or COH. When carboxylic acid is subjected to dehydration with the P2O5, two groups get connected, RCOO, COR. This is dehydration. Dehydration by means of phosphorus pentoxide to get acid anhydride. Next one, when carboxylic acid is reacted with alcohol in the presence of acid catalyst, OH comes from acid, H comes from alcohol, or CO get connected to OR. This is nothing but ester. The process is called esterification. Next, when carboxylic acid is reacted with ammonia, neutralization takes place. Ammonia being a base, neutralization takes place. H plus and NH3 get converted into ammonium ion, RCOO minus and NH4 plus, ammonium carboxylate. That ammonium carboxylate on heating, dehydration takes place. Even P2O5 also we can use. So RCONH2, final product obtained is nothing but amide. So by this method we can prepare acid halides, acid anhydrides, esters as well as amides from carboxylic acid. Next, HVZ reaction, this is very important one. Carboxylic acids containing at least one alpha hydrogen. Carboxylic acids containing at least one alpha hydrogen react with halogen in the presence of red phosphorus to give alpha halo acids. So RCHX COH plus HX. From this alpha halo acid we can get very important compounds. Say suppose when it is reacted with ammonia, H and X both are removed. Indirectly X is replaced with NH2. Alpha amino acid is obtained. So alpha amino acids are very important constituents for the preparation of proteins. So even we can prepare alpha amino acids by HVZ reaction. EAS reactions of benzoic are similar to benzaldehyde. COOH which is present on benzene ring, COOH present on benzene ring may be planar with benzene ring or may not planar with benzene ring. So planarity leads to the formation of resonance structures. C double bond O can take electron density from benzene ring. So it acts as minus R group as well as minus I group. So it is electron withdrawing group. Since it is withdrawing electron density from ortho and para positions, incoming electrophile obviously attacks at meta position. So COOH group acts as meta directing group. So when benzoic acid is reacted with certain reagent which provides electrophile, we can get meta substituted benzoic acid. This is EAS, electrophilic aromatic substitution reactions. Next, coming to polymers. Polymer is a macromolecule, single macromolecule, big molecule formed by the repeating addition of small molecules containing double bond. So n number of small molecules, they are called monomers. N number of monomers, they get combined either by addition reaction or by condensation reaction to give only one big molecule macromolecule polymer. That process is called polymerization. Let us take ethylene. You take n number of ethylene molecules under suitable conditions, undergo polymerization, CC pi bond is broken. So each carbon get attached to adjacent ethylene molecule. So this is the repeating unit. So this type of reaction is called addition reaction. So the name of the polymer based on the name of monomer. So monomer is nothing but ethylene. That's why polyethylene. If you use IUPAC name ethene, we can get polyethene. So this is addition reaction. So to write the repeating unit of addition polymer, just you take one monomer. This is called homopolymer. Just you take monomer and remove the pi bond and put two bonds at two carbons. This is repeating unit. So to get monomer from the polymer, just you remove poly, then you get the name of monomer. Sometimes two monomers may get combined each other. That is copolymer. If two or more than two monomers are participated in the formation of polymer, that is called copolymerization. Next, two monomers may get combined by condensation reaction. Such type of polymer is called condensation polymer. So classification based on the source. Natural polymers occur naturally. You can remember the examples, just you go through the examples. Semi-synthetic, synthetic, natural. Synthetic means artificially man-made polymers like nylon 66. Natural polymers occur naturally like starch. Semi-synthetic, by taking the natural polymer by adding certain reagents, we can prepare another type of polymer, that is called semi-synthetic, vulcanized rubber. The natural rubber, when it is heated with sulfur, we can get vulcanized rubber. So vulcanized rubber is the semi-synthetic. Similarly, cellulose acetate, cellulose. You have to remember the examples. Next, synthetic polymers, already I told. Next, based on the structure, polymers are classified into three types: linear polymers, branched polymers. Some branches are there here, just you remember the examples. Next, cross-linked polymers or network polymers. So highly crossed, all monomers get combined through cross links. Such type of polymers are called cross-linked polymers or networked polymers or three-dimensional polymers. Example, bakelite and melamine. Next one, based on the method of reaction. Some polymers are obtained by the addition reaction, some other are obtained by condensation reaction. Based on the mechanism of the polymerization, they are divided into two types: addition polymers formed by addition reaction. For addition polymers, double bond is compulsory. CC double bond. Next, condensation polymer. Condensation, we know addition followed by elimination. So condensation polymerization possible whenever polyfunctional monomers are present. In one monomer, suppose COOH and OH, both groups are present. When such type of two monomers come closer to each other, between them esterification takes place, forming polyester. Sometimes monomer containing COOH and NH2 groups. Two types of functional groups are present in one monomer. When such type of two monomers come closer to each other, amide bond is formed, CONH dash. So polyfunctional monomers, monomer containing two functional groups. Sometimes both the functional groups may be identical, sometimes both the functional groups may not be identical. So polyfunctional monomers, they get condensed either by ester bond esterification or by amide bond formation. So we can get two types of condensation polymers, polyesters as well as polyamides. Classification based on the composition. If only one type of monomers are participated, they are called homopolymers, polyethylene. Copolymers are heteropolymers, when two or more than two types of monomers are involved, that is copolymer. Example, nylon 6,6. Next, based on the intermolecular forces, polymers are classified into elastomers. Weakest forces of attraction are present. When pressure is applied, it will be stretched, and when pressure is removed, it will get its original shape. They are elastomers. Next, fibers. These are thread-like structures having high tensile strength. The molecular forces are intermediate. The intermolecular forces are very high in fibers. Next, thermoplastic polymers. These polymers have intermolecular forces. Highest forces of attraction in fibers, weakest forces of attraction in elastomers, and intermediate forces of attraction in thermoplastic polymers. So these polymers we can change the shape of these polymers by heating and remolding polymers. If remolding is not possible, when the polymer is once it sets to particular shape by heating, we cannot remold this type of polymer. That is called thermosetting polymer. Example, bakelite, urea formaldehyde resin. Next, preparation, uses, and how to write the repeating unit of the polymer. Everything you can take from the NCERT textbook. The polymers may be addition polymers or condensation polymers. So what you have to do, children, please listen. You take one polymer and collect the monomer and repeating unit, that's all. If you take nylon 6,6, what are the monomers? Then what is the repeating unit present in polymer nylon 6,6? So if you know these two, monomers as well as repeating unit of polymer, you can get one question in any entrance examination. So my sincere suggestion, you collect all these important polymers which are given in NCERT textbook. Just you collect all these: LDPE, low density polyethylene. Ethylene is the monomer. So you have to collect like this on your own. So when how to write poly unit, repeating unit, just you break the pi bond and show two valencies for two carbons. That's all. This is low density polyethylene. High density polyethylene same only, but conditions are different. Next, Teflon, polytetrafluoroethylene. Tetrafluoroethylene. In place of 4 hydrogens of ethylene, you take 4 fluorines. Same process. How to write the repeating unit. So you should learn how to write repeating unit. If it is addition polymer, very simple. This is the repeating unit. Tetrafluoroethylene is anti-corrosive plastic. Tetrafluoroethylene is the monomer of polytetrafluoroethylene. Teflon has the monomer tetrafluoroethylene. Polystyrene, number of styrene molecules undergo polymerization to give polystyrene. So you should know what is styrene. Phenylethene is called styrene. So how to write the repeating unit? You break the pi bond and you can show two bonds. CH is taking phenyl group. That's all. This is the repeating unit. Same thing, polyacrylonitrile, vinyl cyanide. Vinyl cyanide. This is monomer. So I hope you are able to collect in this way for each monopolymer what is the monomer and how to write the repeating unit. Natural rubber, neoprene, 2-chloro-1,3-butadiene is monomer. Chloropene, that is also called chloropene. Buno S rubber, butadiene, and nitrile is the monomers. This is copolymer and sodium is the catalyst. Styrene and 1,3-butadiene both are monomers and sodium is the catalyst. Like that, nylon 6,6, nylon 2,6, PHBV. This is biodegradable synthetic polymer. So generally synthetic polymers are non-degradable like polythene, but there are few synthetic polymers which are prepared by the condensation mechanism. They undergo decomposition in the presence of biocatalyst enzymes. They are called biosynthetic polymers, biodegradable polymers. PHBV, polyhydroxy butyrate covalerate is called PHBV. Polypropene glyptol bakelite, this is obtained via Novolac. Nylon 6, this is homopolymer. Caprolactam is the monomer. PVC, polyvinyl chloride. Vinyl chloride is the monomer. Urea formaldehyde resin. Formaldehyde and urea both are monomers. This is copolymer. So melamine, formaldehyde resin, melamine and formaldehyde both are monomers. Dacron or terylene. These are terephthalic acid. So this is copolymer, condensation polymer, polyester. Dacron is formed by two monomers. Terephthalic acid. Benzene 1,4 dicarboxylic acid is terephthalic acid. When it is n number of ethylene glycol. CH2OH, CH2OH, n number. These two undergo esterification. So during esterification, OH comes from acid, H comes from alcohol. So these two get connected through ester bond. CO, O of the ethylene glycol, you observe how to write the monomer, repeating unit in copolymer. These two get connected. So the bond which is responsible for the combination of two monomers is ester. That's why this is called polyester. So how to write the repeating unit? From the terminal molecules, you keep the H of the alcohol outside of the square bracket. You keep the OH of COOH outside of the square bracket. Remember, after writing, just you connect two monomers through ester bond by the removal of H2O and you write the repeating unit. While you are writing repeating unit, you keep the H of alcoholic group outside and OH from COOH outside of the square bracket. That square bracket group is repeated n number of times. This is repeating unit. Suppose nylon 6,6. So vulcanization of rubber and molecular mass of polymers, just you read that. Nylon 6,6. This is formed by the amide bond. So this is an example for polyamide. The monomers, this is also copolymer, monomers present is hexamethylene diamine, hexamethylene diamine, hexamethylene CH2 group 6 times at terminal carbons 1 and 6. NH2 groups are present. This is hexamethylene diamine. Another one is adipic acid. Adipic acid. This is CH2 taken 4 times. Terminal carbons are becoming COOH groups. So nothing but hexane 1,6 dioic acid. So how to write the repeating unit formed between these two? Observe carefully. COOH terminal always you keep the left side. COOH. CH2 taken 4 times. COOH. First you write the adipic acid. After that hexamethylene diamine. While you are writing hexamethylene diamine, better to show hydrogen separately. Hydrogen present in NH2 separately. 6 CH2 groups, hexamethylene. After that NH2. So during the polymerization, what happens? OH of carboxylic acid, H of NH2 get connected and form H2O. H2O is eliminated. So COOH, CH2 taken 4, CO remains present. From other one, NH remains present, NH, CH2 taken 6, NH2. So these two get connected through new bond, CN. So the entire group CONH is nothing but amide. That's why the polymer belongs to polyamide. So when we want to write the repeating unit, you observe carefully again. You write the complete structure. COOH, CH2 taken 4, CO. This is attached to another monomer. CH2 taken 6, NH. So first you write this clearly. This is a new bond, amide bond. You keep the OH of the COOH outside of the square bracket. Because from two terminal molecules you have to get water molecule. So OH comes from COOH. That's why you keep the OH of the terminal one outside of the square bracket. From NH2 you keep the hydrogen from outside of the square bracket. So H and OH, they get converted into H2O. That's why this is repeating unit. It is repeated n times. So this is the method to write, how to write the repeating unit in polyamides. This is amide bond. N number of amide bonds are there. That's why it is called polyamide. And the previous one is polyester. For addition polymers, it is very easy. Just you break the pi bond and you show two vacancies at two terminal carbons. So sometimes they may ask monomers by giving repeating unit. If it is polyamide, what you have to do, just you break the CN bond. the bond present between CO and N, you break this one, you attach OH to the carbonyl carbon, H to the NH. So you will get monomers. Similarly, in ester groups, polyester, this is the compound present. You break the CO bond, carbonyl carbon and oxygen, you break that bond, attach OH to the carbonyl carbon and H to the oxygen. So this is the best method to get monomers. Okay children, with this I wanted to conclude. All the best. Just you go through the synopsis, try to learn the synopsis as many times as possible. All the best.